Everything happens for you, not to you.
Gratitude is the key. When you practice that gratitude, you start to attract more things to be thankful for as you become that gratitude magnet.
I'm just thankful I had parents who grounded me when I was younger. I'm glad they taught me about the Lord growing up. I'm very happy, but there's still things we're striving to get to, striving to get forward.
We have to, or else if we're not striving for something, we're dead. If you choose easy, you're probably going to get a hard life.
Your legacy starts in your home. And I have learned to reframe what success is in defining my legacy.
If you're the interested dad and you have conversations with your kids, you're like the first person in the world that they want to talk to. It's like the super glue, unbreakable connection.
Love that. For some reason, that just, when I even say that word, I get emotional. Thanksgiving has always been more than just food and family for me. It's about perspective. When I look back on everything we faced this year, the wins, the pain, the lessons, I'm reminded that gratitude isn't about what's easy. It's about being thankful for what grew you. In this special Heart in Life Thanksgiving episode, I'm sharing moments that remind us what it means to be alive, to love, to lose, and to keep going. These clips come from some of the most powerful conversations we've had. Stories about resilience, mindfulness, and choosing gratitude even when life hits hard. Because being harder than life doesn't mean being unbreakable. It means being thankful through it all. Talk to me about the power of gratitude.
Yeah, gratitude is the key. Can't be stressed and thankful at the same time. So if you're feeling grateful and feeling blessed, you won't feel stressed. So that gratitude is essential for your health, your happiness. But think about gratitude. It connects you. It connects you to God. It connects you to others, gratitude. Vulnerability connects you to others. Ego disconnects you from others. So ego says, I did all myself. Ego says, I don't need to thank anybody. But in gratitude, you're realizing, you know what? I'm not the creator of it all. I am not in charge of it all. So I'm just grateful for what I have. So it puts you in a posture of humility and allows you to connect to a greater power, to a greater source, to others as well in the process. And when you practice that gratitude, again, abundance starts to flow into your life when gratitude flows out of your heart. So the more you're grateful, you get more things to be grateful about. You're looking for the things that you're grateful for. You will start to find more things to be thankful for. And then what I call it, you become a gratitude magnet. You start to attract more things to be thankful for as you become that gratitude magnet.
So what you do when I'm stressed, you pop on my shoulder and says you can't be stressed and grateful at the same time. And I say 3 things that I'm grateful for. And it could be the dumbest little roof over my head, the flight that was smoothed back from Florida. And I'm telling you that works. And I'm going to steal another one of your thunders. How much I read all of your stuff. Ego, edging God out.
Take time each day to connect with the ultimate power. Just give it a shot. Read the one truth. In the back, I have an acronym, P.R.A.Y.E.R. P.R.A.Y.E.R. And you can just do that on a daily basis and just try it out. Praise, which means practice gratitude. R, repent for your mistakes. Repent for the things you've done wrong. Ask for forgiveness from those you have hurt and forgive those who have hurt you. Trust, the T doesn't fit there, but the E does. So we go expect, and then you trust. So you trust that God has a plan. You expect great things to happen. You expect miracles. I really believe, Kelly, the more you expect miracles, the more you see miracles. The more you expect God to do something amazing, God will do something amazing. So often we actually cut off the flow of the abundance that God wants to give us. We cut off the flow of miracles. God wants to give us these amazing miracles and abundance in our life, but we don't believe it's possible. We poo-poo it. We don't trust, or we never receive what's meant for us. And that's the R, receive. You got to receive on a daily basis. Receive the blessings. Receive the gifts. Receive the healing. Receive the abundance. Receive the love. I even receive all the people that I'm meant to help. I receive those who you want me to help today, God. Put them on my path, and I receive it. And it's amazing. P.R.A.Y.E.R. P.R.A.Y.E.R. Prayer. That will change your life doing that every day for 10 to 20 minutes. Just do it every day and see how it renews your mind and heals you. I've been doing it now, Kelly, 20 years. It's why my mind and my soul and brain are so much different. It's why you are saying, since you read that book, you're renewing your mind and you're feeling different because you're now open to the power, the healing power that's moving through you in a spiritual way that's now healing, renewing you. It's like this flowing stream that's flowing within you, and it's clearing out all the debris and all the stuff and all the crap within you, clearing it all out and renewing and recharging you. It's why you feel lighter and freer.
People look and they think, oh, he lives on the beach and he's got this beautiful family, but it wasn't always that way. There was a time when Catherine was frustrated with you. Tell the listeners about that, because everybody thinks that you're just this rich millionaire and just everything's perfect, and it's not that way.
Now, Kelly, that's a nice word to say she was mad at me. No, she was going to leave me. Like, she was going to leave me because I was so negative. I was so miserable. The first time she almost left was because I lost my job during the .com crash. Didn't know how I was going to pay the bills. And we were crumbling. I was crumbling. I'm 30 years old. We had just moved to Jacksonville from Atlanta, lose my job. And I am blaming Catherine for why my life is so bad and why I've not lived up to my dreams and my potential. And when you're blaming someone else, that doesn't feel good. She said, I love you, but I'm not going to spend my life with someone who makes me so miserable. If you don't change, like, we're over. Like, we're done. Like, she was ready to walk out the door right then and there. So I begged her to stay. She agreed to stay, and I began to change, and I began to work on myself. And at first, it was becoming a more positive person. And I started to study positive psychology. And this was during the emerging field of positive psychology. So doing that really started to have an impact. Like, I read you can't be stressed and thankful at the same time.
Oh, I love that.
So I began practicing these thank you walks every day. While I was walking, practicing gratitude, think about it. I'm flooding my brain and body with these positive emotions that uplift me, rather than the stress hormones that slowly drain and over time will kill me.
I feel your words right here, John, and I love you for it. And you guys got to go out and get this book. All of his books. I messaged you one time. How do I get like a package of them?
Here's the deal, Kelly. I don't care what book you read that gets you to the point where you become a reader. My book has been that book for a lot of people, like the 4 Agreements. My book was the catalyst. 4 Agreements is the catalyst. Other people, it's Og Mandino's book. It's Viktor Frankl's books, Man's Search for Meaning. For me, it was Richard Bach and Jonathan Livingston Siegel and Illusions. Those books impacted me. So it doesn't matter what book it is. The key is, do you then start to read more and more and grow from the books that you are reading? So I'm glad that book led you on this path, because everybody starts somewhere and then we go on a path on the journey.
Every day I realize the more I think I know, the less I do. And just,
I'm on a journey too. I want to learn, grow, continue to improve. And I just hope people get from the book, like, one of the big takeaways is, don't listen to yourself, talk to yourself. Don't listen to all those negative thoughts. Don't listen to the fear. Don't listen to the doubt. So many of us believe the lies that are coming in all the time. I want people to remember those 5 Ds that try to sabotage us: the doubt, the distortion, the lies, the distractions, the discouragement, and the division. And I want people to overcome those 5 Ds, to live the life that they were born to live fully to their potential, to live with that power and that confidence and courage that God wants them to have. See, God wants you to be powerful. He wants to give you power. He doesn't want you to be timid. Why does God want you to have power? So you can be a powerful force in this world and have a powerful impact on others in a positive way. God wants to make earth like heaven. His sole goal is to make earth like heaven. And how is he going to do that? Through us. How do we make earth like heaven? By loving, by serving, by caring, by taking our energy and making the world a better place. With that power, you can make the world a better place. If you feel powerless, you won't. So guess what? I want people to realize that there's a force trying to make you feel powerless and weak. But there's a God trying to give you power so that you can recognize who you are and make a difference in this world. And Kelly, I've been talking to a lot of men recently, and a lot of men are really struggling these days, like with their identity, with who they are, with recognizing their power. What does the world expect from me? I'm supposed to be this way and that way. And what about being a manly man? But what about, making sure that I listen and care? All of that's really important to understand. But here's the key. As a man, you were meant to hunt. You were meant to chase. You were meant for adventure. You were meant for boldness. That is who you're meant to be as a man. A man is meant to be bold and go after adventure. You're meant to be a lion. There's a lion inside of you. The problem is, too many men have forgotten who they are, and they become house cats. They become domesticated. They're no longer chasing. They're no longer striving. They're not going after anything adventurous. They're not being bold. They're sitting back and they've forgotten their power and who they are. So I want men to recognize you're not meant to be that house cat. You're a lion. Remember who you are in the inside. There's a lion within you. Go chase something. Go attack a new opportunity. Go be bold and adventurous. And you may fail along the way. The house cat's worried about failure. The lion doesn't care. The lion continues chasing. And that is who you have to be. That's who you must be to be all that you're meant to be. Be the lion.
That's the one thing. You could still be a lion and be vulnerable. I tell you, the
Yes.
more vulnerable that you are, the more trust and connection that you have. You've worked in Hollywood for a long time, since 1997. What's your biggest lesson that you've learned in working in Hollywood for all this time?
My biggest lesson is to keep on going, because if you've got a goal and you love what you're doing, keep doing it. There's going to be ups and downs, but that's what life is, and that's what's going to be in your career too. I mean, I'm not a superstar who's shot it off into the rockets, but I'm also able to make a living at this since I've been here. So I'm very thankful for that too.
Are you spiritual? What do you believe in? And everything is alignment with energy, and that you're in the right place at the right time, and everything happens for you, not to you?
I have to tell you, I'm a Christian guy. So yeah, I believe in that. And that's one of the reasons why I became an actor. Well, God actually spoke to me and told me to be an actor. I went to college to be a commodities broker. So that's what happened with me. My goal since 8th grade was working in the commodities market. I went to college at Florida A&M University. I was an economics major. Now, don't get me wrong. I've always loved acting. I've always liked the movies and stuff like that. I've always been into making noises and sounds and voices since I was a small child, but I never thought I was making a living at it. It's just something fun I always did. Anyway, my sophomore year of college, I took a theater course that semester as one of my electives. The theater director at the university asked me to come audition for one of the plays. I got the lead in the play of the theater majors. And while we're doing the play that semester, the stock market and a lot of the markets went a major recorrection and went way down. And I started evaluating why I wanted to be a commodities broker. I did a pros and cons list. The pros list was short. I'd make a lot of money. The cons list was like, had to be up early, had to be in front of a computer screen most of the day, trying to build clientele lists, all these different things. I'm like, that doesn't sound like fun. Anyway, long story short, God spoke to me that week and he told me that I was supposed to be an actor. I said, okay, God will listen to you. Transfer Universities, became a major, became an actor, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
God has been talking to me for a long time, and I've denied it. So I want my listeners to hear this, because if you don't listen, God's just going to show you. So walk us through what exactly happened. Like, what were you meditating? Were you just sitting there? Talk us through that.
All right. Well, it's got to go back to when I was 4 years old.
Ooh.
Remember you were 4 years old, and adults will come up to you and say, hey, Kelly, what are you going to be when you grow up? Do you remember that?
Yep.
What did you say when you were 4? Do you remember?
I wanted to be a police officer.
Okay. Well, I can remember vividly when people asked me what I was going to be when I grew up. I said, I'm going to be a mad scientist. That's what I told people right when I was 4. And they giggle like that. Then as I got older, I wanted to be a football player for a little while. Then I wanted to be an eye doctor for a little bit, because my dad's an eye doctor, so I wanted to be an eye doctor for a little bit. Then in 8th grade, I said, I want to be a commodities broker. And I kept that goal to my sophomore year of college. But the reason why I'm saying this, because every time someone asks that question, even when I was when I was 4, see, I don't think in letters and numbers. I think in pictures most of the time. I have film reels going through my mind all the time. When I'm imagining things, thinking about things, film reels constantly go through my head. So every time someone asks you, what are you going to do when you grow up? I always got this picture of a bunch of people sitting in a room. The room was dark. And these people had this blue light shining on their face, and they were looking at the light with interest. But that vision would disappear, and I'd answer the question, commodities broker, mad scientist, eye doctor, football player. So flash forward to my sophomore year of college, I'm an economics major. Like I said, I'm going to be a commodities broker. And I take this course. And then, the stock market and a lot of markets went down that semester. started praying to God about it. And I said, okay, well, I just, I prayed to God and I just let it go. So then I decided then I was going to go see a movie. And when I was in Tallahassee, Florida A&M is there, and then Florida State's there. And then, so I didn't have a car back then. So I walked across my campus, which is Florida A&M University, walked across Florida State's campus to get to the Dollar Theater in town because I didn't have a car. So I could afford $1 in college for a movie, right? So I pay my $1, go into the movie theater. I'm sitting down. The lights come down as usual when you're watching a movie. And all of a sudden, inside my head, this voice said, Isaac, turn around. And I turned around, I saw the exact people I've been seeing since I was 4 years old, where they were sitting, the clothes they were wearing, and the blue light shining on their face that they were looking at was a movie screen reflecting onto their faces. That's what they were looking at. Because I'm looking at them, they're looking at the screen. That's why I never figured out why I'm seeing these people with these blue light shining on their face and what they're looking at. I realized, okay, now I'm in the movie theater, okay? And I said, okay, I guess that's a sign that I'm supposed to be going to the acting then, because I've been praying about it. And so now on the way home from the movie, now I'm praying to God saying, God, I'm in Tallahassee. I know I want to do film and television if I'm going to do this acting thing. What can you do to help me out as far as that's concerned? So I walk all the way back home to my apartment. I get to my apartment on my campus. I walk into my apartment. I turn the TV on. The 11 o'clock news is coming on right then and there. The very first thing the newscaster said is, Hollywood has come to Florida. Universal Studios and MGM Studios in Orlando are doing major film and television production. I said, okay.
What legacy do you hope to leave behind in the entertainment world and in life?
Well, in life, I just hope people would say that was a good guy, that's right. I mean, it's not about ego, or whatever. I hope they'd say, hey, it was a good guy and he has some iconic roles that he really played and people love to this day. And, I mean, like I said, no, I'm not famous and I'm not out here for the fame. I'm here to have the fun and I'm here for the money because this is a job. And I really want to get paid well doing it. Why not? It's funny to work on a movie where you're getting maybe $100,000 for the movie and someone next to you is getting $35 million for the same movie you're working on together. So it's just like, why not make some money too? I'd like to make that kind of money where my money's working for me instead of me having to work for the money. But I enjoy the drive and I enjoy the things I've been able to do. I've been able to travel the world. I mean, not a whole world, but I've been able to Europe several times to sign autographs for various shows I've done. And it's been great. It's been wonderful.
You voiced Thanos, Saget, Soundwave. What do you love about playing larger than life characters?
I think it's fun because a lot of the characters I get to play are the opposite of me as far as my personality is concerned. And I think that's just wonderful because I'm not a bad guy, but I like playing the bad guys because that's the fun stuff. They get to say the stuff the good guys don't get to say. And they get to laugh at you when they say it,
You get to do the duality in life. We all want that. Like before I started this Heart and Life brand, I used to be rough around the edges and now I'm just full of love. So I get to see both sides and I'd rather be this all day long. So I love that you get to dip on each side, but what role stretched you the most mentally and physically?
All right. Mentally, I'm just thankful I had parents who grounded me when I was younger.
Ooh, go into that.
I'm very thankful for that. I have wonderful parents. I've been married 61 years now.
Kudos. Congratulations.
Yeah. And, and I'm glad they taught me about the Lord growing up. That's really helped me be grounded also. So that's just number one. So anyway, my mindset is always like, okay, first of all, good things are going to happen and bad things are going to happen. That's going to happen in life because I don't know anybody's life who's just everything was great and then they died.
Yours seems to be like that.
They had roller coasters. There's ups and you got downs. I mean, you find somebody you love, then you lose that person. They break up or whatever. You find a great job, and then all of a sudden, you don't work another great job for a while. All the type of things that happen in life, and that's what a life is. Ups and downs. I mean, that's just what it is. So I already being grounded, knowing that, hey, good things are going to happen, bad things are going to be happening. But if you just keep your mind set on knowing that you can keep pushing forward and work through them, that the good times are coming back again. And you don't have to worry about it. No matter how bad things might seem, I feel like there's always going to be better. You know what I mean? There's always going to be good stuff coming your way.
The beauty part about that, Isaac, is that so life is a roller coaster. And if you watch it, it's a lot like a heartbeat. So if it lays flat, you're dead. But I tell you this much, the beauty part about when you're coming down that hill, you know another one's coming right up. So you just have to believe that God has a plan and it's all going to work out and just keep growing. So you're tremendously grounded.
I don't want to cut you off, but I'll even tell you this. There's been some times when I was in the downswing when I thought things were looking bad. Something happened in those downswings that even though it was down, I had gotten some lessons I learned.
Oh,
It was able to even help me learn when I went up the swing again, because I was like, oh, that's why that happened. And things got better on the other side because I learned that lesson when I was down.
you ever notice when you're in that pivotal moment, you have two choices. You could take one and get yourself out quickly. And then you take the right and you stay in it. And that one's always the one that pays you off in the long run. Rejection is redirection and probably opened up space and time for you to go to roles and do things that you really are in alignment with.
You said rejection is recorrection. I don't feel any rejection at all. I don't let my mindset feel like I got rejected from that, because rejection to me is a negative word. So I just think of like positively, hey, okay, that wasn't mine, and congratulations to the actor who did get it. And I really do feel congratulations. There's some roles I've gone out for, and I'm like happy for the guy who got it sometimes. Here's another example. I feel like if the role is yours, the role is yours.
You're giving so many nuggets to the audience of how to live life. Every single one. You're just a beautiful human. I can feel your energy and I just love it. Pay it forward. Guys, there's enough in this world for all of us. We all can eat.
I'm just thankful, but there's still things I'm striving for in life. I'm very happy, but there's still things I'm striving to get to, striving to get forward.
We have to, or else if we're not striving for something, we're dead.
I would like for us all to be able to get along,
Yep.
Even in this climate we're in now. I know there's some people who are on the left, there's people on the right, and there's a lot of anger and vitriol that's going on right now between people. I don't really like to get in those conversations because, now politics has turned into, you don't believe the way I do, I hate you now.
Yeah.
I don't believe that. I don't believe in that. Okay, we might have different ideas about things, but I don't hate you because you believe this way and I believe that way.
You just summed it up. Have fun, be kind, be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
That's being harder than life, man. Talk to us about this family score and why should every man be brave enough to take it. That's what we're talking about here, being brave, because courageous to make a mistake and to be vulnerable and to be open and realize that I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to be in this fight. So talk to me about the family score.
Everybody in my family, we take our turns, helping each other. So like there are days my 19-year-old, he's the one who looks at us and is like, guys, today I'm struggling, or there are days my wife is like, today's a rough day, guys. I need everybody to pitch in. I'm hurting today. There are days that I do it. Right. But the cool thing is that we call ourselves Team Hagner. We're Team Hagner. Everybody's got a position on this team, right? And we all help each other. One man goes down, we all help. So when somebody's going through a bad time, the other members of the team rally, right, to help. But and one of our biggest things to do on the team is when you're struggling, let us know, ask for help. And dude, I will tell you, I've made those rules. And I'm also the toughest to enforce them on myself. Because as a dude, I'm like, I don't really want to tell the family I'm struggling today. Maybe I won't. Right. But yeah, we have to.
Well, leaders go first, Larry.
Right.
Leaders go first and they lead and they make it safe because other people are struggling. My parents showed exactly how not to raise somebody. So tell us yours.
Here's why I share the story in some detail, because I want all your listeners to know, no matter what your background is, no matter how bad it was, that does not mean that determines your future and what's going to happen. My mom and biological father were married in 1971. They got married really young. I think they were 21. Really fast and furious sort of relationship, got married really, really quickly, had me 4 years later in 1975. About 9 months after I was born, my dad and my mom split. They had a really horrific divorce. And I never knew my dad. Never even knew I had a dad. So like, I remember being about 5 years old, and I talk about this in the book. And I remember it was just me and my mom. And my friends that I went to school with, they had dads. And I remember dads coming to pick up their kids from school. And some dads wore suits and some dads wore jeans and that kind of thing. Like I knew what a dad was. And in my mind, I was like, well, I think moms just go out and find dads. Like kids magically appear and sooner or later, mom brings home a dad. Like, here, I found the dad. Like that's what I thought. So like I was just waiting, it's no big deal. Like I didn't think I was missing out on anything. And I'll never forget, I'll never forget, it was a Friday. I was 5 years old. My mom was like, hey, just want to let you know, we're going to have somebody over for dinner tonight. It's a friend of mine. He's a very special friend of mine. I've known him for a few months and I work with him. He's a very nice friend and I really want you to meet him. And that was her way of saying, I've been dating someone I work with and it's now time for you to meet him. Right.
Uh-huh.
So I'll never forget this, man. Like I'm 5 and this guy, like I was like, oh my gosh, like this could be the dad. Like this probably is the dad. And this guy came walking in my house. He's wearing a 3-piece suit, double Windsor tie, has a briefcase, the feathered hair, the mustache. It's 1979. And
boss, isn't it?
yeah, right. There's no iPads or anything like that, right? And he shakes my hand. And the first thing I say to this guy as I'm looking up at him is like, are you going to be my dad? And like literally, like my mom gasped and he like laughed awkwardly. But 6 months later, man, that's what happened. They got married and he was my dad and he adopted me. My last name is his. He's the one I knew as my dad. No clue of this other guy. And happy family, right? For about a year.
Oh.
But then a lot of really bad things like just started to emerge. So like he had a really bad drinking problem. My mom drank a lot too.
Oh.
So yeah, right. I'm thinking there's probably some similarities there.
Oh, it's uncanny, the similarities. 5 is when my stepfather got. I mean, it's getting weird.
Really? Now I'm really intrigued. Holy cow!
Really weird. Like
that's wild. So anyway, they just had a horrific four last years of their marriage. Cops were called to my house. He had a heavy hand. He loved to beat up on me. He beat up on my mom. She beat up on him. Finally, when I was 10, he moved out and they got divorced. And I remember being 10 and I was like, man, I'm glad he's gone. But I also was like, this sucks. So anyway, I started asking a lot of questions at that point. I'm like, wait a second. This guy came around when I was 5. Like who, like, where did I come from? So I started asking my mom, I was like, where did I come from? And she's like, well, yeah, I was married before and you have another dad out there. And I'm like, what? I had no idea. She's like, I was married for 4 years. He left when you were about 1. And yeah, I don't know where he's at. And I'm like, what's his name? And she like told me his name and had no idea where he was. 2 years passed by. I won't get into it just for the sake of detail and all that, but I met him and it wasn't planned. And I was over the freaking moon, Kelly. Like I was just like, this is the coolest thing ever. I met my dad. And when you're 12, like that's like right at this sort of liminal space, I think, where you're not really a boy, you're not really a man, you're just sort of, and you really want that male figure in your life to help you through that time. And my dad shows up and he only lived 3 miles from us, had no idea. And he was remarried at the time. He had a 2-year-old son, another one on the way. And I was over the moon and I hung out with him every week. And he came to my little league games. I spent time with him and his wife and spent time at his house and spent the night. It was great, man. I was like, this is awesome. I immediately started calling him dad right out of the gate. And then it was about 5 months into our relationship. And I just started noticing like there was just some weirdness going on, like just some heaviness. Like he seemed stressed out, a little distant. And I'll never forget being 12. And I called this guy one time. I was just like, hey, like, is everything okay? Like, I feel like something's not right. And that's when he kind of like, I don't remember the words. I just remember the result. And the result was, I'm out. And that was it. He was gone again.
Killing me right now.
And my mom got married a total of 3 times by the time I was 18, dated several dudes in between. Every guy was the same guy, just different name and different face, but alcoholic, abuser, toxicity, horrible experience. And I think it was right around 18 and my mom got remarried again. I was like, yeah, I'm done with dads. Like, screw all of you. Like, I think that was like my attitude. I'm like, I'm done with this. After I went away to college, I never came back home again. Moved out, married my college sweetheart. Here's where the story really takes a turn, man. 2005, I'm 30 years old. I've been married for 2 years. I'm in a Starbucks here in St. Louis. And I'm just having a morning meeting with the people that I work with. We had a Monday morning team meeting every Monday. And who came walking in for his morning coffee? My dad, the one I hadn't seen since I was 12, my biological one. And I immediately saw him and I was like, holy crap, I know who that is. And one of the women on my team, I was also friends with her. So she kind of knew this story and she saw this look on my face and she's like, are you all right? You you look like you just seen a ghost. And yeah. I was like, my dad just walked in here. And she's like, what? And I was like, my dad just walked in here. And she's like, the one you haven't seen since you were 12? And I was like, yep. She goes, where is he? I was like, right over there. It was like 25 feet away. And she's like, oh my God, what are you going to do? What are you going to say? And I was like, yeah, nothing. I'm not going to say anything. She's like, wait, you're not going to say anything to him? Like, you're not going to say anything to him? I was like, why would I? Like, the guy blew me off twice. Like, you think I want to be around that dude? Like, no. Well, she didn't say another word. She just got up and sat at his table with him. And I'm like,
Wow.
yeah. And I was like, what is about to happen? And then all of a sudden he like got up, walked over to where I was sitting with her. And he was like, and basically what she told him was like, hey, I just want to let you know something. You don't know me, but your son is in here and you should really get to know him. Like, you really should. And his first response was, where is he? So he came over, we talked. I wasn't nice, but I wasn't mean. I was kind of like indifferent. And he handed me over his business card. He's like, call me sometime. We should have breakfast or something. And I slid the card back to him. And I gave him mine. I said, we've tried this before. You can call me if you want. And if you don't want to, that's okay. I was kind of like giving him an out because I was like, he's not going to call. I make him sound like a bum. He's not. He's actually a very successful entrepreneur. Still married to the same woman, has been for 46 years, 2 sons, but here we are 20 years later. And I've had a relationship with him for the past 20 years. And it's been kind of weird and also remarkable at the same time. But, Dad Edge got started because I was a dad for 6 years. So fast forward just 6 more years. I had a really bad moment with my son, who was 4 at the time. My second son, my second born, stepped out of line as any kid would. And I spanked him. And I made a promise to myself that I'd never hit my kids because I was hit a lot growing up. And I spanked him. And unfortunately, what happened, Kelly, after that, is I spanked him so hard, he face planted the ground. And I was like, and I immediately was like, oh my God, what did I just do? And I went to go pick him up. And he rolled over on his back to get up. And he saw me like coming at him. Like, I'm like, oh my God, are you all right? And he thought I was going to hurt him. And he literally just closed his eyes. Don't hurt me. I think I've told this story 1,000 times, man. And it always freaking gets to me, man. My kid is 17 now, and he's the starting center on his football team. He's tough as nails. And all I can see sometimes is that 4-year-old, just don't hurt me. And that was it. First and last time I ever hit my kids. And that was it. That was the night I started doing what I've been doing for the past, 13 years. And I don't foresee myself stopping because I don't want that to ever happen to me again. I don't want that ever happening to another man again. But yeah, that's how, unfortunately, my platform didn't get started with some beautiful epiphany. It got started with some pretty bad darkness.
What you don't repair repeats. Did you do one specific thing to really lighten the load to forgive your father?
If we're talking about forgiveness, it was literally just making the decision to forgive. And my kids get along with my dad and my stepmom fine. They love him just fine. It's great. My 17-year-old, the one that I spanked, he's very, very observant and he sees kind of and hears everything, but he just sort of takes it in and talks about it when he wants to. My son looks at me and he goes, do you like going to your dad's for holidays? And he doesn't ask a question like that unless something is really boiling in his mind. And I'm like, well, why do you ask that? It's like, what's on your mind? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, I like him and everything. He goes, but if I'm you and you did that to me, I'd never forgive you. Never. I would never talk to you. In fact, if I saw you out, I'd probably hit you. I'd probably punch you.
Man.
And I looked at him and I go, yeah. And I go, totally understandable. And trust me when I say I went through those feelings big time where I want to like just lay my dad out if I saw him out somewhere. And I was like, but let me ask you one question. How does it feel when you talk about it like that? What feeling comes up for you? He's like, anger. I was like, yeah. I was like, well, how does it feel to feel that anger? He goes, it feels heavy. I was like, yeah. And he go, and by the way, have I ever abandoned you? He's like, no. And I was like, but the feeling of anger and heaviness. I I was like, what if you take that feeling of anger and heaviness into your relationship with your girlfriend? He's like, well, it probably wouldn't be good. And I was like, yeah, it wouldn't be good. I was like, so is forgiveness for you, or is it for both of us, or for me, or what do you think it's for? He's like, well, it'd be for you. I was like, but would it? If you're the one harboring anger and all that, like what if you forgave and then you didn't feel that feeling anymore? Would it be more freeing for you? And then you saw him kind of get it. He's like, yeah, I guess it would. I was like, well, there you go. That's what it is. I was like, Mason, it's not easy for me to forgive my dad. Like there's a part of me that still actually wants to be angry with him. Like there's a part of me that even asking myself like, God, shouldn't I still be angry? Shouldn't I hold something against you? I was like, but that doesn't hurt anybody but me. I was like, not to mention the fact my dad's 75 years old. He's still in great health. I don't know how much time he has though. Do I want to waste time being pissed off? No, I don't. I was like, so believe it or not, sounds selfish, but the forgiveness is more for me than it is for him. And forgiveness is more for you than it is the other people that you decide to forgive. And I think he kind of got that.
The legacy you're building in one word.
Can I use two?
Yep.
Unbreakable connection.
Love that. I was going to say presence. I don't know. For some reason, that just, when I even say that word, I get emotional. Listen, life is hard. Business is harder. So how can leaders and you show up more authentically in today's business environment? Because that to me comes from the being self-aware, being emotionally intelligent, doing hard things,
Yeah.
and then believing in some sort of higher power. And then you should have no problem showing up who you really are. So how do people do that in the leadership space now?
I spent 13 years in corporate America, suited up, tie, like whole deal, right? In the banking world. And I look back and there was always this part of me that just didn't feel like that was me. Like I was dressing up to be this part. And my most comfortable was like in a soccer uniform, right? T-shirt, shorts, working out, like that was my jam. And I just had this belief, Kelly, which some people probably listening is like, well, I can't wear that into my world over here. Like people won't trust me. And like, I'm dealing with high dollar transactions, helping people finance their homes and, doing these real estate deals and all, like people won't trust me. Well, that was a limiting belief. Let's just be real. Like today, I heard it shared the other day. Robert Herbashavat, I think it could be mispronouncing, on the Shark Tank, was talking about this the other day. He's asking about a lesson that was shared with him. And he shared this story about Mark Cuban. And he said, beware of the person in the boardroom when everybody's in a suit and they're the one in the t-shirt. They're the one that is so comfortable in their own skin, comfortable with who they are, probably has the most amount of net worth in the room. And you look around and there's a lot of people dressing up to play a role and trying to be a part. And if that's you, that was me. And I was dressing up and I was showing up and I thought I had to be this certain way. And dude, I will tell you, as I started to break free from that and I started to get some coaching around who am I? And you nailed it. Self-awareness, EQ, all these things we learn. We then start to attract people into our life and we start to have conversations with people like you and I are having. And I had a conversation yesterday with a 28-year-old, Kelly.
Oof.
Our connection point was on CrossFit. He loves CrossFit. And we're just talking, we're jamming, we're both in the same mortgage industry. And when I started to share who I was and share those things about working out, there are people that I know make fun of me. I hear about it and they're like, oh, Brian with his shirt off, or Brian working out, thinking he's blah, blah, blah. I'm like, cool, you're not my people. You're probably never buying from me. You're never going to do anything with me. You're probably never going to add any value to my life. When I started to get real about, I am not for everybody.
Yep.
And you mentioned this earlier, but I battled this and still will battle wanting to be liked, wanting to please people, wanting to see the best in people. Dude, when I got real about some of this and I just said, hey, there's going to be a tribe of people that really I'm going to do life with. And there's going to be seasons that they come and go. But the only thing I can control is how I show up and being myself. I believe there's this great saying, Ed Milet said it, Rory Vaden said it, is it's kind of like, goes like this, is you're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were.
Mm-hmm.
And Ed will say something like, you're most qualified to serve the person you used to be, that kind of version. But think about that as like the things that you've overcome, the things that you've done. And in fatherhood, the things I've been through with 3 kids, I've been through a lot with my wife, 23 years this year. And now I
Congrats.
believe, and I've gotten even more clear on this, Kelly, in this season, is the leaders that I'm looking to partner with are in that almost below 35 demographic, just have young kids, probably under 5 years old. And I'm able to help them not only financially, I'm able to help them with their career. I'm able to help them with anything around fatherhood, their most important relationship outside of their faith, with their spouse. And I look at that and go, man, like I got tested and put through all that to be able to serve people today. And so my mission, yes, we do mortgages, and yes, we help people do all that. But my real mission is the leaders I'm going to get to serve, and why I started this new division at Cross Country is I just believe that's my calling, and my legacy is I'm going to serve people to where I once was 10, 15 years ago, and impart wisdom and just pour into them. And so not only do they win in the business field, but these are winners in their community and in their family, and change the divorce rate, change these absentee dads, change these out of shape dads that dad bods and after 40, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
That's not the life you've lived. That's not the life I'm living. And I'm not buying it. And I want that core group of men and women that want to go on that journey with me. And so that's the calling. I believe that's my purpose, that God's built me for this moment.
What legacy do you want to leave is where I'm getting at.
Well, the first one, Nicole and I, like, she's my best friend. And I tell people this is what we've been through in 23 years, and the things there is that legacy of being one for her, like a great husband to her, and knowing that I showed up, I competed and gave my best. And for my kids to know that their dad put them first and cared about them, loved them, but also was challenging, saw their potential and their best, and pushed them and pulled them and inspired them to go pursue their dreams and their goals. And I believe if I do that at the home first, that then allows me a platform to move out into business. And this belief got inverted for me years ago, Kelly. And why I share this as part of my legacy is I was focused on my legacy at work and the business and the money and the success. And then I would have the leftovers for home.
Yep.
And I believe it's got to be the other way around. Your legacy starts in your home.
This is so good, Brian. I've identified with everything you said this entire thing. We are literally separated at birth. Everything I've done was for my daughter. And it's funny, before I hit record on this podcast, summer vacation, and she's bored and she's not following through with anything because I've made it too cush for her. And I said, babe, you're old enough. You want to go to your mom's, go to your mom's. And she chose her mom's because her mom has no rules. God is teaching me right now is to surrender, let go, let God, and realize that I'm not in control of everything.
Our daughter's 18 now. And so I can tell you this is just stay on the path. Yeah. Stay on the path. You never know when that breakthrough will come for them, and it comes in their time.
Thank you for that, because she's 16 and just does not like dad right now. And it's so hard because I'm gonna point out, it's so hard because everything I've done.
Yeah.
All the brand, everything I've done was for her to have a life different than mine. And she looked at me, she said, I'm grateful for it, but I'm just going to mom's where there's no rules. And I hate that. If you choose easy, you're probably going to get a hard life.
Yeah.
I choose hard and the life is easy.
Yeah. I think you're doing right. Trust and pray that the breakthrough will come. And when I saw Presley have that breakthrough and choose for herself because of her own reasons, and when that happens, it'll be a beautiful thing.
This has been way awesome. And I'm especially grateful that it was today. I needed to hear this. This is the best part about what we do is making new friends and then sharing it with everybody else in the world and making a difference. So I appreciate you coming on. I'm not going to have to tell anybody to share this episode. You have left so many gems, so many things. If people just adopt one, is going to help them. If this episode reminded you of anything, I hope it's this. Gratitude is power. It's what turns pain into purpose and struggle into strength. So this Thanksgiving, slow down, hug your people, appreciate how far you've come, and even the hard stuff that shaped you this year. I'm grateful for you, for listening, for showing up, and for doing the work to become harder than life. Have an amazing Thanksgiving. Let's keep growing, keep giving, and keep being thankful no matter what life throws at us. Please rate and share this podcast. I'm active on all social platforms and love to hear from my Siegel supporters. Each and every episode is sponsored by my company, National Technology Management, the easiest and best IT company to do business with, delivering peace of mind with technology every day, even simplifying cybersecurity. Visit trustntm.com for more info. Until next week, be harder than life.